little tired, but I gotta stay up. And supposedly I heard there's free coffee going on at the Wawa's today, so I think I'm gonna get some coffee, and then I gotta go to the store and go pick up some cottage cheese. And I got my AC on because it's starting to get a little hot outside now. So, I gotta make sure that keep this on. I'm just turn it because I kind of aired out the car a little. It was hot when I got inside the car. Oh, it's a good day at work today. Got a lot done. Let me wait till this guy leaves. He seems like he's strolling. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get some coffee from a Wawa nearby, and I'm gonna see if that's true. They really have free coffee. If not, then I'll just buy it. I mean, it's only $2, but pass up on some free coffee, right? So let me get. All right, he's left. Okay, make sure I hit nobody, because some people don't be looking where they go. I want to go get some ground Italian meat, and also ground turkey meat. I could get beef, but I think turkey and ground Italian meat just tastes better to me for some reason, and it's healthier, I think, for you. So I'm going to buy that whenever I get to the local supermarket. I want to make a homemade lasagna tonight. I'm going to make 2 things of lasagna. I'm going to make one for my husband and one for me. So, and well, it's actually for me and my coworker, but I'm going to make one for my husband because he doesn't like meat like that other than chicken. It has to be chicken without a bone. He won't eat ground meat, like ground like chicken. Nope. It has to be like fried or either like grilled. I'm surprised he even eats grilled chicken meat nowadays, which is healthier. But yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make one for me and my coworker, so I'll have some for dinner, and I'm gonna take the rest for a lunch tomorrow. So if anybody wants to dig in the office, they can. And then my husband will have his, and if maybe I'll send him away with a couple of slices of the ones with the meat sauce in it. It's for his coworkers to have, because I don't want a bunch of leftovers at the house. It's just me and hubby, and I know we're not going to eat all that food to ourselves, so I figure share it with everybody. So I figured, let me do that. Get some bell peppers. I'm gonna get some red peppers. I'm gonna get some onions, and what else do I want to get? Why does it feel like these are not? Oh, okay, I had to put this down a little bit. This AC to come in a little bit. I don't want it too high, but I don't want it too low either. What's the degree? It says 91 on the car. That can't be true. It's probably like more in the 80s. But inside is 91 because I know it was hot in here. I want to get those 2 meats, ricotta cheese, Italian cheeses. So, I want definitely the Saggio cheese, Italian cheese. I want provolone, Romano, and there's one more. I thought there was one more Italian cheese. I thought it started with an F, like Fonseca or something like that. I want those cheeses so I can put them into the mix later on and make this lasagna. I want it to be on top notch. I would have made a homemade bread if I had time, but I know that bread is going to take some time, and it's going to take forever, and then I won't be able to relax, because yesterday I've been on the road. I was on the road for like a total of 3 hours, because what happened was, I drive here to work, and it's like 45-50 minutes with traffic, and then when I left, I had to go all the way down to my mom's and sister's place, so that's like over 50 minutes. And then, I had to do a couple of errands there, pick up a ham. Then I came back around, and, it's like, we add that all up, that's 3 hours of driving almost. 2 hours of driving straight after work, almost an hour or so when you're going to work. So by the time I came home, I was so tired. I made my husband something real quick to eat. I sat down and, what did I do? I didn't even want to cook for myself. I just had a bowl of cereal. And I just wanted to relax. Although I was tired, I didn't want to go to bed right away, because I just knew that if I did that, I won't have, I'm going to go straight back to work. So I just figure, I said, okay, let me do this. I'll stay up till like midnight, you know, and I kind of stayed up. I watched Little House on the Prairie season 4, episode 3 with the lady that she took, Laura kidnapped her or something. Because I was curious because I was on YouTube and I saw it come up on the shorts and I said, oh, it looked pretty interesting. I'm curious because I used to watch Little House on the Prairie when I was younger, you know, I was a little girl, old school show, but one of those shows that you never can remake it again, you know, no matter how many times you try to do it. And yeah, you know, I ended up watching that last night. Did I have a little time with the Lord? And I think I read a couple of scriptures last night, which I would like to do a Bible stream on something that I was reading. And it's about King Jeroboam. That's in the Old Testament in First Kings. So, you know, I want to go and, you know, do a stream about that chapter that I was reading. A lot of good points in it, you know, about King Jeroboam and also about the prophet that was there, that came into play. And I'll talk more about it when I read it, of course, live stream. I would like to do that. I want to do a wine night, but it's just been so busy. And then tomorrow, like, I'm going to be not home after work. I'm going straight down to get my little poo-poo, my bubba, my little niece. I love her so much. Oh, you know, my bubba. So I'll have her from Friday to Saturday, and then Saturday after I have the baby, I'm going to go run errands to get go to the military base because I have to get my ID renewal. And yeah, it's just so much to do, you know, so much to do. Every day you turn around, you think you have time, and you really don't have all the time in the world like you think you do, you know. And I'm sure you can relate, you know, because we all work, I'm sure, and we all have busy lives, you know, and it's hard to make time for people or make the time that you want when you're so busy, you know. I was talking about this at work today with one of my coworkers, and he was saying, like, you know, it's like you more than half the time, a lot of these people today, they're working, they have no time to really spend with their children or families. It's just, you feel like you're overworked half of the time. It's hard, it's rough. You know, it's like you want to find time, but you just can't all the time, you know. It can't be when you want it. It's going to be when a time that you don't want to do it at, you know. Kind of sucks because, you know, time just goes by like this, a snap of a finger. And I wanted to do a wine stream because you know, there's things I wanted to talk about, and you know, talk a lot about like life situations. There's a lot that I want to discuss, but you know, it kind of flew off my head, everything that I wanted to talk about, because so much has been going on at one time. So like I'm going through a brain fart. Maybe one night when I'm not as tired, because I am tired, believe it or not, because I only got 5 hours of sleep last night. That's not enough sleep for me to really function the way I want to. Some people, they're good at that, you know, they can sleep for like 4 or 5 hours and they're fine and they never have issues. Me, I do. Like, I literally, when I'm sleep deprived, I get like little 3 knots on my head. I don't know why. I get like these little knots, and they always seem to be in the same spots. And I'm like, why do I always get that when I'm either stressed or I don't get enough sleep? And then, you know, then they start forming. And I think it's what it is that when you don't sleep, for certain people, I think their hormones start to act up, because everything you do affects another part of your body, you know. So it doesn't matter what you do. Like, you don't sleep, it's going to affect not just your brain, it's going to affect your heart. They say that lack of sleep can cause heart problems. It's true. You can cause heart problems. A lot of issues. Maybe not when you're young, but when you get older, it's gonna catch up to you. So I'm like, you know, I like to make sure I still get my sleep. They say, oh, you're an adult, you don't need as much sleep, but you actually do, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it still affects your health in other ways. You know, you're done all your growing, but you still got your heart health to worry about, you know. hate people drive so close to your car and like they don't speed up. It's almost like they're trying to turn in your lane. I don't know what she's doing, but I just moved up because she's making me nervous. All right, now I can turn this down because it's starting to get a little chilly in here. I need that coffee. I need it because I want to be able to make this, because if not, then I'm not going to have lunch tomorrow and I have to spend another $10 out of my pocket for lunch. I'm trying to save money, not spend. Unless I'm going to go out with my nephews or have fun with my husband or something, you know. Staying right in the middle lane because I don't know, these people all over the place. It keeps jotting their lanes and switching lanes and stuff. So I'm staying right here. Oh yeah, the other night, me and my sister went to the bowling alley. We started dancing, and then all these other people started dancing in the bowling alley. I like that. You know, it brought me back to like old times. You know how back in the days people used to dance like on the tables, like, you know, if they go to like a restaurant or something and they used to dance and everything. That's what it brought me back to. I was like pretty happy to see that people were out and they were dancing and having a good time, not just sitting on their phones and looking down at their phones the whole time. It was really nice. It was good exercise too. But it got me thinking about other stuff too, just about like, just memories, you know, memories about life. I'll get away from this truck. I don't like how close he is to my lane. Just thinking back to like the old times when before like people had cell phones and, you know, videos and stuff. Back then, you know, they used to have the what do they call it? It was like the recorders, and they used to, I forgot the name of it, but it was like a tape recorder. But you know, you can like, it had a camera to go in and out, and you would take videos of different people and where you'd go and stuff. And I remember my grandparents always recording us going down to South Carolina. And, you know, we would come back and we'll watch it with the family, like the home family videos. My friends, you know, friends from back in the days too used to do that. You know, and I'm actually still friends with them on Facebook, but I'm not friends with them in a sense of like hanging out with them on a personal level. It's been like since high school, like maybe 16, 17 years old. And, you know, they're moved on with their lives, got married, had children and stuff, you know, so we just, when we come on there, we just get together just to kind of, just because we know each other for so long and we have a lot of shared history. And just to share moments, that's pretty much what we do on there now. But I'm almost halfway tempted to ask my friend from back in the days, can you share with me those old videos we made together when we were younger? You know, but I feel like I don't want to bug her, but like I know she has tapes of us when we were younger and we would play and do different things. We would act. It was just funny, you know. We did a lot of naughty things too that we, you know, being bad, you know, misbehaving. You know, and I remember one time we played Jerry Springer and she started recording. I mean, that was something else. Oh boy, we were bad. Oh gosh. And then sometimes we would just act, do different acting. But yeah, she would record everything, and then we would rewatch it like a year or two later. But I remember that, you know, when we used to use those things to record. Now we use cell phones, you know, cell phones, everything is cell phones now. I don't even know like what they use for like recording if they're not using a cell phone. I just know that a lot of people just pick up their cell phones to just record. Yeah. But it's like when you look back at those videos, like, you know, it just brings you back to those times, those days. And And I know my grandmother and grandparents have a lot of those videos of us when we were young, going to South Carolina. What's the other one? To a wedding in North Carolina in 1998. I was dancing, being naughty. I was getting the groove on the ground. Oh boy. So many different things, you know. So, you know, when my grandmother passed, you know, I would hope she ain't passing anytime soon. I mean, she's in her 80s. But when she does, I would like to take those videos back with me, you know, if no one's going to take them. Because I'll put them in a nice safe spot or in a storage somewhere. And, you know, if I have kids, or if, let's say, I don't have kids, but I have great nephews and nieces, you know, I share those things with them and you know, pass it on, you know. You get to see like everything and how things have changed. But yeah, just looking back at those videos, you just feel like you're in those times. You just want to just be like, imagine being in those times again, like where it's like, you know, there's no cell phones and none of this craziness is going on, the cost of living and all this stuff that's happening in the world right now. You just, you know, those were the 90s was like the last best decade. And even the early 2000s, although that's when the Twin Towers fell, it still was a pretty decent era, you know? But now it's like, I don't know. I don't got no words for this generation. But yeah, it's just, you just look back at it. And it's weird because I was thinking about this the other day, like, as much as you miss, you know, good times, and you miss like the generation that you used to be in at one point, right? You miss the years, you miss the days. As much as you miss it, you still don't want to bring it back, because if you did, it wouldn't be a good memory. It wouldn't be something to look back at it and memorize, you know? Like my brother said all the time, some of the best things in life is memories, you know? If it didn't become a memory, it wouldn't be nothing, you know, wouldn't be as special to you, you know? Something you like to just look back at and be able to talk to people about. But yeah. That's why, like, on my YouTube channel, I do have videos of, you know, me and my family. You know, there's some videos. Some of them I put on private, you know, because there's so many videos on my channel, on my YouTube channel. It's crazy. I gotta delete some because there's so many of them. There's just too many. But my videos with my family, I'm not deleting those. Those are going on private, and there's something I like to look back at. You know, and the ones about the Lord, like really, like good, eye-opening Bible verses. I don't want to delete those videos because, you know, especially when it comes to like scriptures on salvation, I don't want those deleted because I always want people to be able to look into those scriptures and be able to look for themselves and say, hey, you know, wow, I didn't see this in the Bible, you know? So certain things I don't ever want to delete. So, but I like these videos, not just for the fact of just blogging or talking about life, or not just even for the fact of it being my hobby, but also I like to look back at it. It's just like when you make home videos at home, I make these videos because it's a journal in a way to me. You know, many times I forget things, and all I have to do is look back at a video and know what day it was and say, oh, I remember that's the day when I did this, my taxes, or that's the day that, you know, I went and, on that day. Oh, that's the day I saw my friend. Now I remember how long it's been. It's been about 2 months, you know. But see, when you don't have those videos to look back at, it's harder to really, you know, backtrack things. And, you know, and I like to keep it for memories. I do have a page that I have. It's, you know, I don't tell too many people about it, but it's a VIP page where, you know, I call it VIP. And it's just a page where I just post videos. Most of my old videos are on there just for memories. It's not really for me to use for people to be on and for the general public, you know, like in the sense of making it known intentionally. I really don't want it to be known intentionally. So it's really just a lot of my old videos that's on there that I downloaded and put one there, and then I deleted off this channel. Some video I just permanently deleted, and that was it. I'm like, no, I don't want to keep it. I don't really care to keep it. You know, it's like, like if it's videos about, let's say some old topics I did with people, whatever, from a long time ago, I don't keep those videos. Or as people that I don't talk to no longer anymore, most of those videos I do not keep because, I no longer have them in my life. And, I don't have anything that I feel is, when I look at the videos myself, I don't see anything that's really positive in it. In a sense of, I don't know how to explain it. No, like, kind of shared history that I care to really hold on to. There you go. It's nothing that I can look at. Now, there are some videos with people on it where I've kept because it was something fun. It was something good. It was like we were either gathering together or we had a really good conversation in it. Like, for instance, I have a video of when I sang a song for Colin, for a good example. Very meaningful to me, and I kept that video. Video of me and Pinchy. There was 2 other people. I don't remember who else was with me on there. We were singing. That was a very nice moment we had. No drama, no problems. And I think I put it on private because it's really just for, like I said, memories and just something good to look back at when I get older. There's a lot of videos I've kept, and I got to sort through them when I get a chance. It's just, I'm just been so busy. I have a lot of my singing videos, but I just put them private because, I'm gonna put them on those pages. Like I said, things to look back on. Like my grandmother who passed, on my mother's mom, I had no idea she was a singer. I had no idea she sang and played guitar until I saw her video, and that's what I want. So, when I get older, I pass away, just pass on videos and different things. Oh, wow, that's our great aunt, or that's our grandmother, my sister, Start group chat. You have been invited to hubby. I don't know. Start group chat. I don't know what he's trying to start on there. I don't know why. I'm gonna go to ShopRite. And when I get out of his car, I'm gonna have to text him. It's weird. It's odd because my husband normally don't start group chats. I don't know, unless it's with my mother-in-law. Maybe that's what it is. But there's a YHWH right here. Let me stop. Oh no, let me go. I missed the exit because this exit's they only could come out, not come in. Let me go to another one. I'm gonna get a YHWH coffee. Yeah, I seen it come up. It's my mother-in-law, my husband, and me in it. So probably want us to go out somewhere, maybe this upcoming weekend or something. Come on, guys. Jeez, so much traffic. Come on. Gosh. Yeah, so that, that's what I want to do with a lot of those videos. And, I have a lot of videos, like, from the pandemic era. And that was, oh gosh, this guy's turning in and he doesn't even look. Thank goodness I'm not driving fast and I'm driving at the speed limit. It just be jumping in front of people, Look like in a Batman car. All he has to do is add those little wings on the side. You like a Batman car. Let's see if I get. I'm gonna get this lane. I'm gonna get this left lane here. I don't know if these people I know, but let's see his car. Is he going my way? So he is. Okay. Bye, Batman. Oh boy. Yeah, I took a lot of videos during the pandemic, and a lot of them were very positive. And we traveled during the pandemic. I don't know about everybody else, but we traveled to South Carolina during the pandemic, and down there it wasn't as strict as it is up here in Jersey. But I went with my family and everything. We went to South Carolina. We went swimming. I went with my former friend before I had cut her off. We went to the beach. I remember going down there during the pandemic. I went so many places during the pandemic. We just was smart. We didn't stand close to people. There were some days we wore masks and we felt like we were going to be around a lot of people. And we sanitized our hands. We were very careful with what we did. I went to concerts, bands, jazz clubs. I did everything. I went singing still. I didn't care too much. My nephews, we still gathered during the holidays, although they try to tell us on the news, oh, don't do that. No, we gathered with our family during the holidays, and we didn't want to live our lives in fear. We wanted to live it in faith, and and we took precautions, but we just didn't want to have to live our lives in fear. And I didn't want my nephews to be like remembering these times as a time where they were stuck in the house and they were depressed, because a lot of teens and kids became depressed around that time. And I never wanted my nephews to feel that way. So, my nephews got to travel and go out and do things still, during the pandemic. We traveled a lot. We went to Baltimore. We went a lot of places. New York. Back to New York, which is our state. But, yeah. So, like when my nephews get older, they're not going to look back and be like, oh, I remember the pandemic and, I would just stay stuck in the house and my parents I was so depressed, blah, blah. No, they ain't going to say that. They're going to go, oh, not us. My aunt, she took us everywhere. We went to the arcades. We went out still. I still, like certain places I maxed them up a little bit, but I didn't restrict them. I took them out different places. I made sure their hands were washed. I made sure they put their hands near their face, and, we trained them to do certain things, but they had fun. We didn't feel like, honestly, the pandemic, I loved it. Not in a sense of I liked all the bad things that was happening, but I loved it in the sense of like having a lot of solitude, because I am an introvert. So I actually enjoyed staying home on the weekends. Like on weekends, I couldn't see my friend because I really just wanted that time to myself. I didn't want to go out every weekend. And I got to do a lot of cleaning. I got to do a lot of baking and cooking projects, so I was really happy. I was like, I need this break. And then when my nephews wanted to do something, I took them out. We didn't stay restricted. Oh, there it goes. And while we're right here, I'm trying to see if I can turn in. Can I turn in? Let's see. Gotta go through the circle. I remember playing Dr. Mechanic, and I got that idea because of Dr. Fossey. I used to call him Dr. Fraud. So I would always joke around my nephews, and my nephews knew not to trust the shot. So one day I played this game, and we had toys. We had little cars, right? And what ended up happening was I had this mechanic that was mean, and he was a monster, and there was a lady that let me through. These people are road hoggers. Okay, I'm here at a Wawa right now. The lady seemed nice. She said, all right, come on in the back. And, she would have them come back. And then you would hear them screaming in the background, the cars, because the mechanic doctor is giving them the mechanic vaccine. And he's like, ah! And he's breaking the car down and everything. My nephews had fun. They enjoyed it. They knew that where I got my idea from. They knew that I kept calling that doctor a fraud because he was. He did crimes against humanity. Oh, here's an old man coming out. Let me let him go. All right, he moved. And sometimes I played Dr. Fraud, where I would put a mask on myself, and I would just get like a pin and act like I got a shot, and I'm like, you want the vaccine? And I would start chasing them around the house, and they're like, ah! Everyone played that all the time. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, that pandemic made me a little goofy, but I made some good comic relief out of it, But yeah, I want to look back and be able to know, like, my nephews had a really good and you know, I want to create those memories with them and spend as much time as I can with them, watching them grow up, take a lot of videos, do things, and that's something I can look back at and be like, yeah, I had a good family, I had a good aunt, I had a good uncles that cared about me, was around my life, I had good parents, I had good grandparents, they did things with us, they never made us feel restricted, they never made us feel like like we couldn't live and do things. They never put us in fear. He's always taught us to walk in faith in the Lord, and we do. That's number one thing we tell them about is the Lord. And the Lord, our God, is everything. And so, not to walk in fear, you know. And we're kids ourselves around them. So a lot of times, I have a great imagination. So I want my nephews to grow up like knowing like they had that, like they had parents, aunts, and uncles that spent time with them, that had an imagination that could be like a kid, but also could be an adult when they need to be, spend time with them. And half of the time, they have more fun with me and their mom and their grandparents before they will with friends. Isn't that something? Like, we're like, you guys go hang out with some friends. You guys don't go out with friends. I don't want to hang out with friends. I want to hang out with you guys because we're fun. We're fun. We're fun. We're not boring adults. Like, I go to the park, I chase them, I become a monster there, and everyone's looking at me, I'm crazy, and I'm like, rah, running around, and and some of the parents be looking like, and their kids want to come play with me, and it's not that I don't want to play with other kids and stuff, but I'm very funny about playing with other people's kids. For one reason, I don't like the idea of somebody's child getting used to being open with a stranger because they don't know me. And I don't like the idea, like, okay, making that child feel like, oh, hey, every funny adult is a good adult. That's not true because there's a lot of predators out there. So I don't like that. Two, if I do play with them, I always like to see the parent acknowledge it. Like, hey, yeah, go ahead. Like, I don't like that idea just playing with someone's kid and their parent didn't acknowledge it. They don't know what's going on because then it teaches the kid to just trust too easily. I don't like that. I also don't like the idea of playing with other people's kids because if they get hurt, you'll be responsible. My nephews is one thing, but somebody else's kids that I don't know would be like, oh, you caused my child to trip and fall, blah, blah, blah. You were playing too rough, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to deal with any of that. So no for me. So I don't play with other people's kids. A lot of times I'll try to like avoid other people's kids for those three reasons. And I just play with my nephews and we have a good time. If it's like hide and go seek, fine. And I see the adult standing there and they're actively watching and see that I'm playing with them and they haven't stopped them, I may do that. But a lot of times even that, I just would rather if the adult consult with me to be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Say, hey, I'm doing good and stuff like that. Because I don't want them to think that everybody that's friendly and nice is a good person. You know what I mean? So I don't like that. My husband is on phone calling. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this. Hold on. I don't know what happened. He just kind of like called and then hanged up. He's probably asking if I got off of work because I'm getting lunch or dinner. I'm going to call him back in a few. Because he wants lasagna. I'm going to make it. I just got to get my free coffee. Get my coffee here. Thank you. Excuse me? No problem. No problem. I'm free. Question, is it free coffee day? I think so? Okay. All right. No, it's fine. I'm going to get one anyways, but.
I think it might be on that. I'm honestly not.
Sure. Okay. No, that's good. I'll find out. If not, I'll just pay for it. It's no problem. Thank you, though. Let's see. Let me get. Some quick. Sorry about that. I got the phone call from my hubby. Well, before I continue with what I was talking about, I got some crazy news about my apartment complex, and they're trying to fail us. I know that apartment is clean, and they're trying to say the stove wasn't clean and the tub needs recaulking. That tub does not need recaulking. I'm going to take pictures of it and say, where does it need recaulking at? And, what are you talking about? The bottom of the tub? Like, where at the tub does it need recaulking at? Because it's recaulked all around the tub. There's no way that it needs it. I think what they want to do is bump the rent up. That's what they want to do. They want to put all new things in there, or either get us into a new apartment and bump our rent up $100 or more, because everybody's rent is getting bumped up. And they always seem to be picky with the apartments, especially this one. So I'm like, I told my husband, I said, this apartment looks no different than it did last year, and they didn't fail us for this. Now, last year was the blinds, and the blinds were not bad at all. And they just try to make something up to be like, oh yeah, you this apartment. Well, guess what? That oven is old, and that oven is clean. The stain that's sitting there is a permanent stain that cannot come out. I've tried oven cleaner and everything. It does not come out. And so, I don't know what they want. You know what I mean? They want the oven look like it's brand new. It's like, okay, then put a brand new oven in then. I pay an extra security deposit for you. Then you put a brand new one in. So I'll see what happens, because I've got time for their bullshit. And if they keep playing games with me and they're going to think about bumping my rent up or putting me in an apartment that's extra high or whatever like that. If it's like high to the point where it's like $2,000 or $1,800, at that point, I'm going to get an apartment with a freaking balcony at that point. Be like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm not staying here, because, you're not going to be sitting here bumping me up in an apartment in the rent up. Okay. For an apartment that doesn't have a front porch or a balcony, doesn't have its own separate dining room. I'm not having that. No, that's ridiculous. And I don't want to buy a house either. And the reason I don't want to buy a house is because these houses are ugly as hell. The houses are not nice, and they're overpriced, and they're not good. They're not in good shape. People right now having bid wars with houses. I'll move into a hotel like everybody else is. Seriously, you save a lot more money. I'll move right in a hotel with everybody else. Be like, oh yeah, I'll just wait till the market crashes, and that's what I'm waiting for. But unfortunately, there's some people who don't want the market to crash, because it is going to affect them, and that's where the issue lies. And my friend, same situation. She lives in the apartments, and same situation. Yeah, same situation with the whole apartments and the cost of living. And she was saying the same, like, her apartment is a 2-bedroom, but it's like near a little over, I think, $2,000. And it's not like a huge apartment. So I'm gonna pull out of here. There's a lot of people just walking back and forth. People don't look at where they're going anymore when they walk across the street or anything. Just turn around this way. She's probably trying to take my parking spot, which is okay. All right, let me get out of here. It's busy here, and they're all probably coming for the free coffee. That's why. me turn this way. Yeah, she was saying like, she would like to move into a house too because she has the kids and everything, but it's just hard. It was very hard to, get a house that's at decent price, that is in good shape, and there's all these bidding wars going on, and it's just too much. And she's not too happy that they're not lowering the cost of living. Oh, come on, guys. You saw me trying to come out. I hate people do that. They see you coming out, and then all of a sudden they want to speed up. Like, stay at your speed that you were at, and then when I get in, you can speed around me. I don't understand that. Oh. But gotta go to ShopRite. Be careful because there's an accelerator lane. That guy is not slowing down, so I'll let him go through first. Yeah, she's not too happy. Our current, I don't really like talking about politics too much anymore like that, but it's not to really talk on a political level, but just more of the idea that he took back what he said. He's not going to lower the cost of living. He outrightly said it, because he said, like, I guess the people with the like $500,000 homes, he wants them to sell it, but nobody's going to buy no homes at this time and age for that high of a price. Nobody has that kind of money unless you're like rich or something. Like, we got to look at the majority of people. The majority of people don't got that kind of money. And, it was promised that we were supposed to lower the cost of living. So where is it? I know a family member of mine, they're still very much in support of Trump. And I respect anybody's beliefs or whatever they want to support. That's on you. I don't get too much into all of that. He believes that in the long run, this will better the future of our country, if he takes over the oil companies and all. I say, yeah, but at our cost, though. And we didn't ask for this, and unfortunately, we're going to suffer for it. No different than what our last administration did. It's just that he's adding right on top of the mess. And it's affecting people, it's hurting people's pockets. And the thing is if you come in and you say you're going to do something, then do it. Don't say something and then take back your word, because now people lose trust. People are like, oh, well, what do you mean in the long run it's going to help us out? We got to suffer now. We didn't ask for this, We're in bad debt, our country right now. We're not doing good. But what I am hoping for is a nice big market crash, because I think that'll be the day I will move in and try to get myself into a house right then and there. I'll move right into a nice hotel, because hotels, if you think about it, a lot of people are doing it now, and you get a bedroom, get a stove, sometimes a living room, a suite, no different than an apartment. No different. It's just, you're under some service. And honestly, you're not under a lease renewal or anything. If you go to like an extended hotel, I know people that have stayed at extended hotels for 6 months or more. And you're doing the same exact things. You just want to keep it quiet and not disturb people around you. But yeah, hotels are making money now. And I'd be comfortable. I'd be like, okay, good. If there's a pull-out bed out in the living room for days I just want to get away from my husband and just sleep by myself, then I have that. Because there are days I just want to be left alone. I want to be by myself. I don't always like to be bothered. And my husband's the same exact way, so it works out. I don't like to cuddle up with people. I don't like cuddling up in the bed, unless it's cold or something, or is every once in a blue moon. I'm not a very touchy-feel person, not like affectionate. I don't mind giving my husband a kiss here and there, but that's just about it, like a lot of space to myself, like he does. That's why we work out so well. But Yeah, I'll be happy with your staff. Like, oh, good, okay, goody, you know, and just wait, save up my money, and just be like, okay, well, you know, especially if they're gonna bump your rent up to like $1,800 or $2,000, you might as well just stay at a hotel, extended hotel place. You know, because at least you'll get the electric for free, you'll get the cable and internet for free. You know, any gym stuff yours free. You know, you don't have to worry about that. Breakfast, they got breakfast downstairs. You don't have to worry about spending money on breakfast. You know, it's just a lot you can do. You know, you save yourself a lot of money. So a lot of people are doing that. I shared some videos, I think, on my post, and you can look at it. It's like stuff that I share, like stuff that I'm talking about right now with people struggling, people living in, you know, storage units. Like, you're not supposed to, but there are people doing it, and it is illegal. There are people living in their cars right now, that, you know, and they can get arrested and get in trouble if, you know, if they're repeatedly keep being on the streets and seen in their car and living in their car. Which is ridiculous, you know, because it's like, okay, if you're going to sit here and hold us hostage and make us pay for all the stuff that's going on with the wars and all these things that's happening, right? And you want to pay, you want to make things better again, but off of our own expense and health, then at least let us live the way the hell we want to live. Okay, like, don't sit here and penalize us now and put us in jail if we're living in the streets or whatever like that. You know, let us live the way we want to live. But they're not going to do that, of course. You know, because I mean, I saw some stuff online. There's like these tents that you can blow up, and you can live in it. It looks like an actual house. I gotta find the video of it. I'll post it up so people can take a look at it. And it looks like a house, and it's a blow up. A lot of people use it for like what is it, for camping. And it's a very cozy camping kind of thing. Like, you know, you go in there, it feels very homey. You can put a TV in there, and people use it for camping. And I think I would do that if I was right now. I think the biggest thing I would do right now is get into a campsite, go rent a campsite, go stay there at that campsite, and then go to another campsite. I would get a gym membership and shower there. Some campsites have showers already, but you know, I would do that. Then some nights I may stay at a hotel, and I would just get myself a storage unit to keep all my stuff in. And that way you save yourself so much money and get away from the police. You know, that way they can't come at you and be like, oh, you're not supposed to do this, you gotta leave. You know, it's just sick. You know, this world it's a demonic world. You know, we live in the devil's world. So, you know, you can't, you know, nothing will ever be, you know, perfect, you know, or set in stone, or even truly good. You know, but just gotta be thankful for all the blessings you get in this life. I'm very thankful to be working, to know that my husband's been working still and held on to his job for more than 3 years now. You know, it's a blessing. It's been a great blessing. I'm blessed to know that we're all in good health, that my mom is still alive, and we were able to do this kidney surgery. It's been a blessing. So I have a lot to be thankful for. But it's, you know, with the current state of things is very sad, and I think that a lot of people are waking up to a lot of the things that they see in this world, the reality of things, like the evils of this world. You know, a lot of people are starting to feel off, and they're saying it's not just even a depressive feeling. It's not even just the idea that things are going up in cost, but they feel something off in this world. And I've already said it. You know, I believe it's truly a spiritual thing. I believe feeling they're starting to feel the reality of what they really are in. You know, in a world of Satan. And people are feeling this all over. And they start to see how the elites and the people that are above us in our government are so evil and wicked, involved in demonic sacrifices and stuff. People are starting to realize this is not a conspiracy. People are starting to realize that this stuff is real, and that, you know, no, this is not a conspiracy. And we are living amongst people who are in power, that are of the devil, that are evil. Because think of the higher you get up, and this is the truth, the higher you get up in these positions, the darker it gets. And they get you involved in so many things. And if you don't join their club, they'll off you. They'll get rid of you somehow. If they can't kill you, they'll ruin your reputation. They'll either lie on you, or they'll find truths on you that, guess what, they've been involved in as well, and they'll try to just say only you were involved in it. A good example is P. Diddy. P. Diddy was doing a lot of stuff, nasty things, you know? But guess what? He wasn't the only one. Those same people that are reporting him, most likely the same people that are involved. And they don't want to, they're just ratting him out because maybe he didn't do something they wanted him to do. Because trust and believe, to get up in those positions, you got to do certain things. Sinister things. And they get involved in so much stuff. And I'm not just talking about the government or, these high positions. I'm talking about the music business, the entertainment industry, all of it. The stuff they have to do to get to where they are is just, it's grievous. It's sinister. And once they know something, they have to shut up. And if you don't do what they tell you to do, you're going to have problems. The girl on the House of Pain, I have to show her video of her crying, right? And she became a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ. And she started seeing the truth about things. She started telling secrets, like kind of hinting out what's going on in this world, like the dark side of what's going on behind the scenes in these entertainment industries. And then after a while, she wasn't really doing the videos anymore. It was like she straightened up and she just started like acting normal, like as if nothing was going on again. And my mother was saying this probably threatened her. So you better shut your mouth, or else, you better start acting right, because they do that to you. They're like, if you say too much, you open your mouth too much in that business, they get rid of you. And what they do is people like us that's aware, they try to say, oh, they're just conspiracy theories. Yeah, they're just crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. But no, we're not conspiracy theories. And people are now starting to wake up and realize that. And that's what I was talking about at work today with my coworkers. They know, they say the same things. They're like, yeah, we're going down a rabbit hole, but we know that what we see is true. The elites and all of them, they're all a part of this evil, sinister agenda. And he's like, and the things that I've been talking about for all these years on EQ stream that people laughed at, guess what? That's what we were talking about. And people are now starting to see that this is not a game. This is really what's going on. Everything we discussed about the shots and everything and how these are frauds and everybody's starting to wake up and realize the truth. So now, we can't get fooled as easily anymore. And people are just fed up. They're tired. They had enough. People had enough. Do you realize that we've been screwed over these past 5-7 years by all the stuff that happened, all the crimes against humanity they do, them forcing people to partake in something because and threaten them by taking their jobs away, bribing them, talking about, hey, I'll give you free weed and free beer and all this stuff. If you do this juice, man, just put it in your arm, be a hero. You see how manipulative that is? Love thy neighbor, and try to take God's word in vain and twist it around, because we live in a devil's world. They experiment on people all the time, and that's now people starting to wake up to that now. So why should we be surprised? Because guess what? Think about the project what they did when they took the African Americans and purposely infected them with syphilis. Look that one up. It starts with a T. I forgot the whole name, but it starts with a T as a Tom. Look up about the military men that had to take a shot and then they came back and had babies and their kids were missing limbs after they took the shots. You don't think people experiment on you? You bet you got another thing coming. Don't let nobody tell you, oh, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, it's just you open-minded and you're wise and you know not to trust people because you've seen history before. You've seen that it can repeat itself. So that's the kind of world that we're living in, and we shouldn't be surprised because the Bible makes it clear we're living in a dark, evil world, and behind all the beauty, which is a very beautiful world God created, but what goes on in it is sinister because of sin. God shows we're living in the world of the devil's world, the prince of this world, and everything goes on in it is the devil. And anytime you get money, you go up higher and higher up to there, up in the levels, it gets harder for you. They want to get you all involved in the sinister stuff. That's how it goes. You wonder how, a lot of these entertainment people in these businesses that have no kind of talent, how to get up where they are. Who do you think they do? Just think about it. I mean, it's not, if you really think deep and hard, it's not hard to figure out. You know, they're definitely doing stuff, and not just sexual things. They're doing other things that are very sinister. You know, and these are the same people we sit here and we praise and we look out on TV and we idolize them, and not realize the things they're doing behind the scenes. You know, it's sad. It really is sad. Yeah, it's just I don't know what's gonna happen, but you know, me, I just walk in faith. I trust that in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. That's the Bible. So, you know, I don't say these things to put people in fear. I just say these things as a reminder of, it's just a reminder to just stay aware of things. You know, be aware, be open-minded, always evaluate things. Think deep about stuff. Don't just think simply and just be like, oh yeah, I just trust whatever I hear. No, you need to investigate things that's going on around you. You know, but yeah, that's the Bible says. I walk through the shadow of the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil. And that's where I walk in, because I know with the Lord being with me that I'm going to be okay regardless of what situation I get in. The Lord has never failed me. He's blessed me in so many ways, and I know it's all God. And I mean, I've told different stories about like scenarios about, like, for instance, with my friend who, you know, she has no job or income. She has her kids, you know, her boyfriend's in the military, but they're struggling. And she came to a gas station and she didn't have any money. She didn't know what to do because she got gas put in her car and she didn't have money. And she prayed to the Lord right there. She prayed and she said, God, help me get out of this situation. I need, you know, she got gas. She didn't know what to do, but before she panicked, she went and trusted God. She says, God, just get me out of the situation. Whatever she do, I don't know what she prayed, but she prayed to the Lord. And guess what? She opened that door and there was literally $100 bill sitting right there on the left side of her door. $100 bill. Now, don't sit here and tell me that's a coincidence. $100 bill. Then another situation happened again, where, and her boyfriend's Buddhist. So, you know, with him being able to see these things, he can't deny the things that he's seen, the blessings that God gives. Because he's an unbeliever. He sees for his own self, like, wow, this is, wow. You know, she they were struggling, and I mean, they're behind on their rent and all sorts of things. I think this was during the government shutdown, if I can remember. I'm gonna go down this way so I get to ShopRite. And they were broke and she didn't know what to do. But she says, you know what? I'm gonna pray to God. And what happened was she came across a homeless man. And she knew that she gave him everything she had. It reminded me of the woman in the widow in the Bible when she went and she gave both of her coins and threw it in she cast it, right? And she walked off. And the rich men came and they gave money as well, like big, large amounts of money. And Jesus said she gave more than everybody here because she gave everything she had. Those rich men only gave in their abundance. But it reminded me of that. She told me one day she gave a poor guy all this money, like everything she had. And she says, I remember that Lord will provide. And that's what she said to her daughter. Well, guess what? God did provide. And that day she was struggling. She was trying to figure out what's going to happen. She says, Friday, I don't know what's going to happen on Friday because there was a bill that had to come and she had to get it paid and they were behind. And she was like, I don't know what's going to happen Friday, but I just trust God is going to give me money. He's going to have something happen where I'm going to be okay, right? She just trusted God. Well, she got a $400 check in the mail that came through. I forgot what it was from, and she never signed up for it. And she's like, she said, oh, this is the Lord. On the right day, at the right time. Same person. I said, that is the Lord. I knew it was the Lord. She had me in tears when I was thinking about that because it was just, I was so happy just to hear like the joy of God and just how great he is, how he's always here. Even if it wasn't money, let's say God just said, You know, like how he did to me back in 2014, where I was late on my electric bill because I didn't have a job at the time. You know, I was taking care of the kids and going to school, and my husband was only making $500 every 2 weeks. You know, it wasn't enough money, and God just kept finding ways to just get me through. And I couldn't qualify for like a good amount of food stamps. I only got $16 a month, you know, and I couldn't qualify for anything because I was married, and they feel like that was enough money, and it wasn't. And somehow I had a $400 electric bill, and they threatened to take my electric off, and something comes through the mail saying, oh, you qualify for the assistance program. We covered it. I said, wait, I never signed up for this. I said, Lord, this is you. And I trusted God, and I knew that God was going to take care of me. And I know that many coincidences do not happen. So it doesn't matter what way it's going to go. Just know that God is going to take care of you. He's taking care of me. The surgery that happened last year it was a blessing. I've spoke of the details about it on my prior streams. I knew that was God. You know, it was just so perfect. Perfect timing, perfect matches between two women, and no antibiotics going against each other. It was just, I knew that it was God. And mother and daughter swap, and it was just at the right time. And that woman was on her way out. She was on dialysis for 10 years. She was on her way out, and God was like, no. And in her letter to me, she wrote about how she will keep me and my family in her prayers. And isn't that something? And I was like, she must be a believer. You know, and see, that's how God works. You don't know, like, you know, everything we go through, our struggles and our pains that we go through in this life, you know, although it feels bad, it's really meant to be a testimony. Through our struggles and pain, God gives us strength. And we learn a lot. We learn to appreciate life more. We learn to appreciate the simple things. You know, you start realizing and looking at things and saying, you know, I don't want to take advantage of my life. I don't want to take advantage of people that are good to me, my loved ones. You know, now the days I want to spend more time with my family versus being online and spending time with foolery. You know, I want to be around my family. I want to create good moments with them. I want to always talk about God with them. I want to get back to doing our Sunday Bible studies with my family. You know, we got distracted for a while. You know, you look at life and you start realizing, like, wow, you know, you can't take life for granted. And your situations and your struggles and all those things are to be used as a testimony a lot of times. And, you know, in this life, while you live here, you will falter, you will fall, you will go through weak moments, you will go through good and bad times, you will go through sickness, and you also go through good health. But no matter what, God is always with you. You know, he's always with me. It doesn't matter what it is. And I'll tell you, like, when I went under the knife, and I'm going to tell you two stories. The first time in 2021, when I first went to sign up to you know, see if I could donate, right, my kidney, you know, I had to do blood work and different things like that. A lot of things came in the way, a lot of stuff. There's so much to say, but I'm going to tell you the main point, right, between all of this, right, between my mom's health situation. I went and got a CAT scan done, right? Because that's part of the testing to see if you're eligible to be a donor. Well, around that time, they caught on the scan, something light up. They were like, "Ooh, there's a mass in your pelvis." I said, "What?" And this was around the time my friend I told you about, former friend that was like, you know, I cut off, like she was like being negative, and she seemed like she was bothered by my faith and like the fact that I wasn't looking at the negatives of everything, right? And that I wasn't going to give up. And it said, oh yeah, you got a mass, and yeah, it's lighting up. Yeah, we're not sure. Can't rule out malignancy. We're gonna have to do an MRI, right? And do an MRI on it. So my friend kept saying, oh my gosh, what if it's cancer? You know, what about your MRI? And I said, I don't worry about that. I'm putting that in the hands of the Lord. And it seemed like she was so bothered by it. It's like she was getting like annoyed. And it was like, wow, are you sure you're my friend? Because it seems like you're very much annoyed. But I'm not surprised, because see, she's an unbeliever. And see, that the Bible makes it clear that, you know, the world hated him before it hated you. You know?
And a lot of those, they're going to be pretty much your enemies, especially if they ain't searching for God actively. And I could see she didn't respect my walk. She didn't respect my growth in the Lord. She didn't respect the idea I was becoming my own person, like maturing as an adult, setting boundaries. She didn't like that. But that was one of the things she really seemed like she was annoyed about. And she kept bringing it up every time, like he was going to ruin my day. You ain't ruining my faith, honey. I'll tell you that right now. So they found out it was a dermoid cyst mass that was 5 inches big. It was really huge, and it went into my ovaries and into my fallopian tube on the left side. It twisted it, and it caused my pelvis to deviate to the right. They had to do a whole surgery on me. They were like, "You didn't feel any pain?" I said, "No, I didn't feel any pain all that time. Nothing. That could have ripped up. You know what I mean? Who knows what it done to me?" And they said, "We'll try to save your ovaries." And they of course said, some women get depression. I don't get depressed about that. I don't care about my ovaries being taken. That don't bother me. I don't feel less of a person because I don't identify with my organs. I identify with Christ. So I said, if they gotta take it, cut it out, take the mass out, the cyst, whatever that is. Because if you look up dermoid cysts, they have teeth. Some of them have hair. Look it up. And I think for some reason it must be hereditary because another family member of mine's had that, but theirs was small and they had teeth, small teeth and hair. It's dermoid cyst. So they took my whole left ovary out, the fallopian tube, everything, and they took out the mass. And they weren't able to save it. I'm fine with that. They say you can still have children. I'm like, well, if I don't have it, I don't have it. I'm not worried about that. I don't think about those things like that. It doesn't bother me. So, that was the first one, which, that put things on hold. And of course, my mom had her own situation happen where they had to put her on hold for a while because she had couple of health issues that came up that had to get fixed. And it was just like every time I turned around, it was like bad things kept happening. It reminded me of the book of Job where, bad things just kept happening to him, but God just kept him strong and his faith stayed strong. And Satan kept tempting. I bet you I could turn your servants away from you. Well, Satan didn't win, okay? So he's never going to win. He's never going to win. So then we got back on the list again, and just out of nowhere, as soon as we went back on the list, like a month later, we get bumped to the top of the list as priority for surgery. We find the perfect match, rare match, 90%, both daughters swap each other. We both are 90% matches, no kind of contradictions, no antibiotics against each other's organs, nothing. Perfect. And the mother of the other woman that donated to my mom was on her way out. Now, do you know when I went under that knife and I woke up, they didn't just remove my kidneys. They removed my appendix. They said I was in acute appendicitis. I was like, what? I was like, oh, the Lord is so good. This is God. I said, there is just no way. There's no way these many coincidences happen. I didn't feel no pain. I didn't feel no symptoms. I was in acute appendicitis. People could die from that. It was like, wow, I gave my life and God gave it. He protected mine and kept mine. It was like, it was just, I just knew it was all God. It was all destined, and this is just something I will always remember and always use as a testimony. I'm just forever thankful. My mom is not in a wheelchair no more. She's back in her health. The woman, she's going out places. She's traveling. She looks good. Everything. Her hair grew back. Everything in such a short period of time. And the woman that I donated to, the girl who donated to my mom, her mother, I donated to her, and she's living her life. She's able to take care of her disabled brother now. I mean, she was tombed in that dialysis center, ready to die. I knew it was the Lord. I said, oh yeah, definitely. And she's living her life now. I was just so happy to hear how good she was doing, and that she's going out traveling. She gets to see the birth of her grandchildren now. She gets to take care of her disabled brother. She gets to go out. I said, this is God. Oh, praise the Lord. This is how great God is. Like, there's just no way these many coincidences happen and just like you're on the edge, ready to die or something bad happening to you. And God just says, I took care of all four of you at once. I got rid of your appendicitis, Candace. I gave your mother a new kidney, and I gave that woman, the mother of that daughter that donated to your mom. I gave her whole life back, and now you guys are all good and restored. You see how great God is? Like, how people, I was thinking about this like yesterday. How could you see this world and not know and not see the greatness of God? I mean, like, I don't know, like, I was thinking about the animals, right? And I was looking at how innocent they are, right? And every time I see animals, not just the world, but when I look at animals, I always think about God. Just how great he is. Like, how, like, wow, he's greater than the artist. Like, he's just great, and I see their innocence because they don't sin. Animals don't sin, not like humans, not like us, animals, they're just so innocent, but they also are protective, and they have boundaries, and they have their instincts come out where they are in territorial mode, and they just come at you and they kill when they have to, but not out of sin, not like humans do, like anger, but more of out of their nature and instincts. And I thought to myself, I say, our Lord, he's innocent and he's great, but he's also have a righteous wrath, and he does things in a certain order. He's the only one that has the right to give and take life. And I think people look in the Bible and they're like, why did God do that to those people? It seems cruel. Like, no, well, God is not a God of hatred. He's a loving God, but he's a God who is also perfect. And he has boundaries, and he's so perfect that he has a certain set way of things. And he doesn't go out of those ways, and he serves justice where it's to be, when it's due, on his time. He serves wrath, and it is a perfect wrath, without sin, so when I think of the animals, I always think a lot about that. I was thinking about that. So, it's crazy. I'm looking at the animals, I see their innocence, and I'm like, it's just a reminder of our greatness of our Lord, how innocent he is. He's so great. And everything he does is sinless and perfect and with righteousness, and if he does anything, he does it out of a righteousness. He does it for righteous reasons. It's not for, like how we do it, for sinful reasons, but it's amazing, but I'm like, so I always like to talk about these things and spread these things to other people as a reminder. Just always walk in faith. Ask God to strengthen your faith, man, because God is here. Give him a chance. He is here, and he will open you the doors and open your eyes to things you thought that you will never know or see. He really does. You'll start just understanding and seeing things you didn't see before, And my nephews, I always just like to talk to them a lot about that. Me and my sister and my family, always wanting to raise them in the Lord and telling them about the Lord. Number one, our true love is God, and he is what gets us through everything. He's our purpose. And my nephews, speaking about them earlier, I got cut off because I was on the phone call with my husband, and I was mentioning how, like, they don't even want to hang out with friends. I'm like, hey, you guys want to hang out with some friends? You guys don't? No, I don't want to hang out with them. I want to hang out with you guys. You guys are fun, and that's I'm glad that we have that kind of connection, I was telling that with my mom because they're so close to us. And I also think about this too. The closer you are with your family and your kids love being around you, or your nephews or whatever, love being around their family, the less trouble they get in. Because they don't got time to go see anybody else get in trouble because they're too busy having a good time with their family. I thought about that. I said, my nephews are so well behaved, and I pray they stay that way, but they're so close with us and they have such a good time with us that they don't want to hang with nobody else. And it's like and I like that because I don't want them to get influenced by the things of this world. And I like the idea they stay out of trouble. So I think that's a thing to have. Like if you're an adult and you have kids or nephews, nieces, whatever, it's a good thing to be creative and to explore. Don't ever make them feel like make them feel shamed about themselves, but share things. Like I share stuff with my nephews about my past and certain things, and I'm like, do you want to end up like that? No. All right, you better start doing the right things. And I tell them like, hey, don't waste your time on any females. You don't want to. I say you want to live your life. So, but if you do, you know the rules. You know the consequences behind things. And I'm just glad that they have such a good bond with us all. That and that we are. In some way, we even though we're older adults, we have a child side to us, and I think that makes it more fun for the kids to be around us, because we could be adults, but we also could be childish too and have a good time and fun. Like we went to the bowling alley, we all started dancing and doing the dance moves on the on the bowling alley. My nephews thought we were nuts. Me and my sister were just at it. But it's I think that a lot of family and that type of time is lost because everyone's so focused on work. And that's another reason why I'm glad I didn't have kids, because I feel like I'm just another adult role model for my nieces and nephews. It's another adult there to be there to occupy. So if my sister has to work and she's got to do things, I'm always there. Tomorrow I'm going to have the baby and the kids again. So we're probably going to do baking together. We're going to probably have fun and play some spooky games together. I don't know. I was going to get them the little foosball thing, so you play that together one day. So get them away from the phones and the technologies, because they like that. But yeah, just I want I want to be there in their life and make sure I did the best I could as their aunt, especially in the fact that I got my own kids, so there's no excuse for me not to be around, and make sure that I'm in a third eye, if you get what I mean. And then I have my mom and my father, but they done raised their kids, and they're out enjoying themselves, so they can't always be around all the time. They're going to be going out doing things. And like I said, if I do have my own child, I don't see myself having no more than one, because I think that would just be it. And then of course I will always be a part of my nephew's and niece's life, and those will be her siblings, those will be her siblings, So I want them to always be close. Yeah. And, my nephew, he's like, he wants, when he gets older, I like that he talks about marriage. He's not talking about just getting a bunch of girlfriends and going out there doing whatever. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I want to find a girl to marry, and a woman that knows how to cook. Every guy wants that. And I'm glad that he thinks with that mindset, and I hope that it don't ever change. Like, I don't want him to be like a part of the things of this world. I just pray that he does right, and because at the end of the day, we all become adults and we make our own decisions, and I just pray that he gets around the right people, because when you become an adult, you get to move out here, you're gonna meet new people. You're not gonna always be around to see your family like that. And I just hope that he gets around the right people. That's all I pray about. People that are of God, people that are going to lead him around the right path, not bad friends. And I understand that we do make mistakes. So if my nephew's and I make a mistake, I ain't gonna sit there and pound them down. I'm gonna understand that we make mistakes in life. We all do it. But I just pray that don't happen. I just pray that he's just one wise kid that just sticks with his guns and say, you know what, I'm going to do things God's way, and that's it. I learned my lesson. My aunt and my mom told me about their past. I don't want to make the same mistakes, I really hope. I really do pray that. This world is getting dark. It's getting crazier by the moment. And if you don't see what's going on in this world and how dark it's gotten, you're just blind. Like you really are. You're blind. But just keep the faith, keep moving through our dark moments. You just got to make the best of every situation. So you got to make the best of everything. But I'm going to get going inside. I got to go get the ingredients for our lasagna tonight. And if I have time, I may do a Bible study tonight. If not, maybe sometime over the weekend. I want to read about chapter about Jeroboam and in First Kings, and about that man of God, the prophet. So I'm gonna get off of here. God bless everybody. Have a good rest of your Thursday or Friday, wherever you are. I'm gonna have to get off of here now. And I don't even know where the X button is on here at all. It's just my phone is quite slow. It's bad. It doesn't want to turn off, you know? Live, but I don't know. I don't see myself on there. All right. Let's see if it's going to let me click out of here. It's not letting me click out. I don't know why though.